Good morning, students. Today we will discuss again chapter 1 of our geography, that is resources and development. So today we will start from page 7, and on earlier pages we have seen the land resource. We have discussed land as a resource, the uses of the land, limitations of the land, then the distribution we have seen of our Indian land mass, that is 43% land area. Then we have seen that mountains 30% and plateau region 27%. Then we have seen the land utilization, how it is divided into forests, barren lands, pastures, cultivable wastelands, then fallow lands, net zone area. So this we have covered in a comprehensive manner in our earlier videos. Now then we have seen the land use pattern in India, and we have seen that the net zone area is declining in India, maybe due to the land degradation or floods or droughts. So the continuous use of land over a long period of time without taking any appropriate measures to conserve and manage it has resulted in land degradation, and this in turn has a serious repercussions on society. So now we have to discuss today the land degradation and conservation measures. So students, land degradation is a process through which the land becomes unfit for cultivation, and 95% of our basic needs for food, shelter and clothing are obtained from land. Now students, human activities have not only brought about degradation of land but have also aggravated the pace of natural forces to cause damage to land. Now we have to see the causes of land degradation and the measures to overcome them. So first, major causes for land degradation, this we have to see. So students, human activities have contributed significantly in land degradation. First cause is deforestation, that is cutting of trees, and this is one of the major causes for land degradation. Now the second cause is mining. So mining is one of the major factors which is responsible for land degradation in states like Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha. Deforestation due to mining have caused severe land degradation, and after mining, students, pits are left open after mining and it leave the deep scars on the land. So the first reason we have seen, the first cause we have seen deforestation, second mining. Third is students, overgrazing. Now during the long dry periods, grass is grazed to the ground and torn out by the roots by animals. So this leads to the loosening of soil and it easily washed away by the rains. Now animals, they graze the land and they torn the grass by the roots. So this leads to the loosening of soil, and the soil is easily washed away by the rains. And in states like Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, overgrazing is one of the main reasons for land degradation. So the next cause now which we have to discuss is over irrigation, students. In the states of Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh, over irrigation is responsible for land degradation due to waterlogging, which leads to increase in salinity and alkalinity in the soil. Salinity means the salt content in the soil increases. So then due to over irrigation also, students, the farmers in our areas, they over irrigate their lands in order to cultivate the water intensive crops like paddy. So this also is the main concern why our land is being degraded, due to over irrigation. Also waterlogging happens, and due to that the soil content increases in the soil and our soil also becomes infertile. So we have seen the main cause deforestation, second mining, third overgrazing, fourth overmining. Fifth cause is student processing of minerals. So the mineral industry is also responsible. The mineral processing industry, especially like the grinding of limestone for the cement industry, then calcite, soapstone for ceramic industry, it generate huge quantity of dust in the atmosphere. So these industries, the cement industry, the soapstone, ceramic industry, all these industries, they generate huge quantity of dust in the atmosphere. So again, the air pollution will happen with the suspension of these particles in our atmosphere. So it retards the process of infiltration of the water into the soil after it settles down on the land. So when this all this dust, when it settles down on the land, so it stops the action of the water into entering into the soil. And in recent years, students, industrial effluents, that is the liquid, the waste which is discharged into our rivers as a waste, have also become a major source of land and water pollution in many parts of the country. So these were some of the causes which we have discussed, which are causing damage to our land: deforestation, mining, overgrazing, over irrigation, and processing of mineral industries. Now let's see the steps taken to solve the problem of land degradation, or what will be the measures to overcome this land degradation. So if we are doing deforestation, the measure will be afforestation. The best way to conserve soil is to increase the area under forest. So indiscriminate felling of trees should be made to plant trees in new areas. So this is first measure. Second, restricted grazing of animals. So we can go for rotational grazing. Pastoralists can adopt the rotational grazing, so they should move to another area so that after some time when they will return, their pastures can recover, the soil fertility can recover. So animals should be moved over different pastures so as to avoid the erosion of soil in that particular area. Now third measure which we can do is, students, we have to regulate our mining activities. We have to carefully monitor our mining activities, and government needs to check the illegal mining, and if any mining is being done in the hilly areas, there there is a danger of the landslides, so there we should stop the mining activities. Then fourth is drip irrigation and sprinkler system. So in order to stop this over irrigation, we can go for drip irrigation, we can go for sprinkler methods. So but certain crops are there which can't be grown with the drip irrigation, so we can do direct seeding of those crops like paddy crops, and now farmers are doing this also. Then is shelter belts. The fifth measure is shelter belts. Planting of the lines of the trees to create shelter also works in a similar way. The rows of such trees, they are called shelter beds, so we can grow the rows of the trees. So these shelter beds, they have contributed significantly to the stabilization of sand dunes and in controlling the expansion of desert in the western India. So to hold soil, wind erosion is also one of the factor for the soil erosion. So soil is eroded due to wind also. So to counter that, we can go for shelter belts. And in desert area also we can in desert areas also we can grow the thorny bushes in order to stabilize the sand dunes. So these are some of the measures and causes we have seen, and now measures we have seen. So the same page, now page 7 only, students. The next topic which we have to discuss is soil as a resource. So the soil is the most important renewable natural resource, and it supports plant growth and organism. Now page 8 continue the same topic, soil as a resource, students. So I told you soil is the most important renewable natural resource. It supports the plant growth and organism. So soil is a living system, students, because it comprises of living organisms such as plants, animals, and in addition, it also consists of fungi, bacteria, and other microorganisms. So it's the upper layer of our earth on which the plants grow, and the soil is a living system. It takes millions of years to form soil, up to a few centimeters in depth, and the factors which are responsible in the formation of soil is relief, parent rock, climate, vegetation, other forms of life, time, All these are important factors in the formation of soil. And various forces of nature such as change in temperature, action of running water, wind, glaciers, activities of bacteria, fungi, all this contribute to the formation of soil. And student, soil also consists of humus, that is the organic component, and inorganic material also. Organic here means the living matter like microorganisms, and the inorganic matter means the mineral matter. Now the next topic which we have to discuss here is, the diagram is given in your NCERT book, if you can see, of the soil profile here. So students, the soil is found in layers which are arranged during the formation of soil. So these layers, they are called horizons, and the sequence of layers in this is the soil profile. So these layers are called horizons, and the sequence of layers is the soil profile. And the layers of soil can easily be observed by their color, by the size of their particles. And the main layers of soil, students, are topsoil, subsoil, and parent rock. And parent rock can be, student, weathered parent rock or unweathered parent rock. And unweathered parent rock is also called bedrock. So now let's see the topsoil, students. It is also called the humus layer, which is rich in organic matter, and this layer consists of the decomposed material, all the organic matter here, and this is the reason that the topsoil has a dark brown color. The humus component makes the topsoil soft, porous, to hold enough air and water, and in this layer the seeds germinate and roots of the plants grow, and many living organisms like earthworms, bacteria, fungi, they are found in this layer. Second layer is, students, subsoil. Now subsoil, just below the topsoil we have another layer called subsoil. It is harder, compact than the topsoil, and it is lighter also in color than the topsoil, because there is less humus in this layer, and this layer is less organic also, but this layer is, students, rich in mineral brought down from the topsoil. So this layer is having lot of minerals, and it contains metals, salts, especially iron oxide in large proportion, and farmers, they often mix topsoil and subsoil when they plow their fields. Next is, students, we have to see now, the next is weathered rock. Okay, so this layer lies below the subsoil, and it is the first stage of soil formation, and here the substratum means the soil beneath the surface of the ground. Then we have next, last is bedrock or unweathered parent rock, and it determines the nature of the soil, and there is no impact of weather on this layer. So the layers are first topsoil, then the subsoil, then the substratum weathered parent rock material, that is the soil beneath the surface of the ground. Then we have unweathered parent bedrock. There we have the large chunks of the rock are found, and this is not affected by the weathering, and this is our base of the earth crust. So this is about our soil profile. Now on page 8, students, we have to discuss the classification of soils here now. The first soil which we have to talk is alluvial soil now, students. Now this is the most widely spread and important soil, and the entire northern plains, they are made of alluvial soil. And these have been deposited by 3 important Himalayan rivers, students, the Indus, Ganga, and Brahmaputra. So the formation of alluvial soil, students, we have to study from 2 dimensions, that is the role of Himalayan rivers and the role of deltas. So now let's see first the role of Himalayan rivers. Now the 3 rivers which originate from the Himalayas, when these rivers, they reach to the plain area, they brought with them all the fine material, that is clay, silt, fine sediments, sand, and all these fine material, they got deposited on the northern plains. So that is how the northern plains are formed, and they consist of fertile alluvial soil due to the Himalayan rivers. Now we have to see the role of deltas. Now what is a delta, student? You should know that it is an area of low flat land, sometimes shaped like a delta, where a river divides into several smaller rivers before flowing into a sea. So these deltas are also very fertile and rich in alluvial soil. Like when this all the rivers which are flowing into the east side, that is Bay of Bengal, so they have a long course of flow, and when they reach to the east coast, they are carrying lot of sediments and fine material with them. So when they reach the east coast, so river bifurcate and it divides into many branches before flowing into the Bay of Bengal, and they deposit all their sediments on the east coast. So that is how the deltas are formed, and these deltas are rich in alluvial soil. So you will find all this alluvial soil on the east coast and on the northern plains. So this was how alluvial soil is found on the east coast and in the northern plains. In the northern plains due to the Himalayan rivers, and on the east coast or on the eastern plains coastal plains, eastern coastal plains due to the deltas. So location of alluvial soil, students, I have told you northern plains, that is all this area of Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and Assam. Eastern coastal areas and some narrow corridor in Gujarat and Rajasthan also this soil is found. So now the three terms are there in your book, students: Dwars, Chos and Tarai. Now what is this? Now Piedmont Plain, we have to understand first what is a Piedmont Plain. Means the area near to the foothills. Now on the foothills of mountain, students, whatever stones, clay material, they came down from the mountain. So you know slope is there on the mountain, gradient is there, so all the fertile material, it will come down and deposit at the foothills of the mountain. So you can understand the fertility of these foothills will be very high. So these kind of plains are called Piedmont Plains. So the Piedmont Plain, what is a Piedmont Plain? A gentle slope leading from the foot of the mountain to the region of the flat land. So all the deposit, all the fine material is deposited on the foothills of the mountain. So that is a Piedmont Plain. Now these Piedmont Plains which are found in India are known by different names like Chos. Chos means the Piedmont Plains in the Punjab region is known as Chos. That is the flood plains near Shivalik Hills. Now Tarai, the Piedmont Plains found in the UP region, that is Tarai. Now Dwars, the Piedmont Plains found in the Assam region. So Chos, Tarai and Dwars, these are the Piedmont Plains which are found in different regions of our country. So I hope this Dwars, Chos and Tarai is clear. So this was, we have classified that the alluvial soil is found in different areas also. Now we have to classify the alluvial soil on the basis of age. So we have to do it like Khadar and Bangar. Now here we will classify alluvial soil on the basis of age. So you know students, rivers, they keep on changing their course of flow. So soil near to the river bed is more fertile and it keep on renewing also. So this is Khadar, and the soil which is away from the river bed is Bangar. So this is less fertile, and in Bangar we have small nodules, Kankar nodules is also there, so that is why it is less fertile. So Khadar soil, you know, it is more fertile, it is having more finer texture, and it is found near to the river bed. And on the other hand, Bangar soil is, you can say, it found away from the river bed, and this is more coarser in texture and this is less fertile. And Bangar is old alluvial and Khadar is new alluvial. Now we have to see the content and the crops which can be grown in alluvial soil. So content, first talk about content. So alluvial soil is rich in potash, phosphoric acid and lime. And crops, the crops which can be very well grown in alluvial soil is sugarcane, paddy, wheat, cereals like jowar, bajra, ragi and pulses crop. So this is about alluvial soil. Now the next soil on the same page, that is page 8, the next soil which we have to discuss, students, is black soil. So these soils are black in color as the name suggests, and they are also known as ragur soil or cotton soil. And black soil is ideal for growing cotton and is also known as black cotton soil. And this black soil, student, is formed by the weathering or breaking of igneous rocks and also by cooling or solidification of lava from volcano eruptions. Now, in formation of black soil, parent rock and climatic condition, they play a very important role. So for black soil, students, moderate climatic conditions are required, and in parent rock, which we studied in soil profile also, that is the lower two layers, so for the formation of black soil, basaltic rock should be present. When volcanic eruption occur, lava comes out of this igneous rocks, and you know lava is very rich in igneous rocks, and so lava, when it cools down, solidifies, and after this black soil is formed. So wherever we find this volcanic eruptions, parent rock, there we will find black soil. And basalt is nothing but the igneous rock only. Now we have to see the location where this black soil is found. So it is found in the plateaus of Maharashtra, Saurashtra, Malwa, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, that is covering the northwestern part of the Deccan Plateau. We studied that one of the preconditions to the formation of black soil is the volcanic eruption of the basaltic or the igneous rock. Now students, the black soil is well known for their capacity to hold moisture, and the black soil is made up of the extremely fine clay material, and they develop deep cracks during the hot weather, which helps in the proper air circulation of the soil. Like we have a dough, you use dough in your homes, so when dough is very wet, it is very sticky, it is very difficult to handle dough when it is sticky. But when it is dry, then you know that the cracks appear on the dough, and then the filtration can be very easy at that time. The air circulation can be very easy when the crack appears. So similarly is with the black soil is like dough only. When it is very sticky, it is very difficult to work with black soil, and when it is dry, then the crack comes. So these soils are very sticky when wet and difficult to work on unless tilled, means cultivated immediately after the first monsoon shower. And content, this black soil is very rich in calcium carbonate, magnesium, potash and lime, but these soils are very poor in phosphoric content. Please keep in mind, black soil is very poor in phosphoric content and rich in calcium carbonate, magnesium and potash and lime. And the crop it is ideal for the cotton, and sugarcane. So we have discussed our two soils, alluvial and black, and rest will continue in our next videos.